Hey everybody, what's happening? Andy Irvine coming to you one more time from my crib. Today I'm going to go over what I call the essence of bass guitar, and I'm going to try and give you some simple things to give you an idea of how to start creating bass lines. All music has components to it, and ultimately there's a chord progression, and from the bass our job is to outline the harmony of the song and also provide the rhythmic pulse and foundation of every song, regardless of style. That's the primary function of the bass, to hold down the bottom and hold down the groove. Well, in my many years of playing the bass, I've played all different styles, and throughout my experience I've always gone back to this basic concept that I'm going to show you right now, which is all based off the major scale. So we learn the major scale and it's all right there. You can get a little bit overwhelmed when you first start playing the instrument because there's so many frets and what seems like so many millions of different options. But if you break it down into a little bit more simple concept and base it all off the major scale, you'll find out and realize quickly that the majority of popular music is built off of these patterns that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so we're going to do it in the key of G. Okay, so our major scale it's going to go like this. Okay, do re mi fa sol la ti do. Okay, but I'm going to give them numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now, almost all music that, American popular music, let's say, is built off of this scale and patterns that use the notes within the scale. For example, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, soul music tends to have bass lines that outline this scale and also outline the chords. Now, if we use the first note, the third, the 5, the 6 and the 8, or the octave, we have an outline that sounds like this. Right? That sounds familiar, right? Right? 12-bar blues type of thing. Okay, now there's many different options within this. Also, what's very common in rhythm and blues, rock and roll, and music of that nature is the use of dominant chords. Okay, so we can use the dominant 7 as opposed to playing the major 7. Remember, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll lower this 7th, which would go from F sharp to F natural in the key of G, and we have this type of sounding bass line. See, that dominant 7 is a very integral component in selling the dominant chord sound. So there's countless bass lines that can be created incorporating the dominant 7. Right? And then by applying different types of feel or groove, we can incorporate, we can begin to have different bass lines. So hear that dominant 7 taking shape in there. Now the other thing we can do is start to just mix and match these numbers. You can go 1, 6, 5, 6, 8, 6, 5, 3. You see what I'm saying? Typical blues lines. Let's say, let's think about like a Ray Charles thing. That's a bass line that Ray Charles liked to use in a lot of his music. That has the 1, 5, dominant 7, and 8. Right? looking into, say, a shuffle feel, like a Chicago blues shuffle feel. Right? Same pitches, just with a slightly different rhythm and groove applied to it. That is 1, 8, dominant 7, and 5. Right? So I'm just changing the feel, but I'm incorporating the same notes that I'm pulling from the major scale. You could do a that's the 1, the 3, the 5, the 6, the 5, the 3, and the 5 again. There's so many different options right within that major scale, you see. Let's see. Another one would be like, say we're going to do a 12/8 or a slow blues. Used commonly, and Albert King liked to use that bass line a lot, and many others. So you've got 1, 3, 5, dominant 7, 6, 5, 3. You see? You also have the rumba feel. The rumba feel, boom, 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 boom. All based around these types of patterns. You can get a little bit more complex. You could do something like this. I'm going bouncing back and forth between the octave and then incorporating the scale tone. You could do, there's so many different options. You could do like a, you know, starting to get into kind of a more funky kind of a place. That one incorporates the minor third, the B flat. So all based around that major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay? Now, seldomly that major 7 is even used in popular American rock and roll, rhythm and blues, you know, soul music and stuff like that. But it does play a role in certain places when you want to sell a major chord. So I encourage you to mess around with the major scale and think of it just in the beginning stages. You know, just think of it in terms of you know, creating your bass lines using that little simple number system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And then find a pattern that incorporates 4 or 5 of those notes and mix them up and mash them up and try different things. And remember that dominant 7 is your friend. You know, standing on shaky ground. And then, of course, the other important cool element is chromatic notes. Notes that are not within the scale, but they certainly work great, and they add movement to the bass line that gives it what we call stepwise motion. Okay? Stepwise motion. You know, walking bass, right? Well, you can incorporate any pitch, any non-scale tone, as long as it's sandwiched between 2 scale tones. So, for example, that flat 5 right there, it's not one of the notes within the major scale, but it certainly works as a passing tone, sandwiched between 2 scale tones. Same thing goes with incorporating the dominant 7 and the major 7. Just going fret by fret by fret, half steps. So you can incorporate all that kind of stuff in there as well. And this gives your bass lines character and makes them soulful sounding. So it's all right there. It's all right there within the major scale. So have some fun with that. Dig into some old soul music. Dig into some rhythm and blues. Don't look down your nose at the blues, because all the meat and potatoes stuff, all the real fundamental stuff that playing bass guitar is all about resides within understanding the characteristics of those styles. So if you dig into that, then you can begin to go farther and reach farther and learn more and follow your inspiration to other places and more complex places. But the bottom line is, most of the music that I play, most of the music I've ever played is built off of these simple, the simple major scale concept, and outlining the chords real well and laying into them different grooves. You know, get your right hand happening so you understand how to really deliver the time. The time is, in my opinion, the most important thing. You know, all the pitches and everything like that are secondary to the time. You have to nail the time and then craft your bass line by selecting pitches that complement the harmony well. So I hope that helps you, and you can have some fun with that, and we'll talk to you real soon. All right, y'all. Rock on.